Have you ever imagined what would happen if you let a rat cook your meal? Well, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't let a rat do that because we all know that it is gross and that it's physically impossible for them to do so. But in the world of Pixar, anything is possible. And that's why they released the movie Ratatouille back in 2007 about a rat dreaming of cooking food in a fancy restaurant. Yeah, they never stop creating out of the ordinary movies. After making movies about talking cars and talking toys, Pixar is making a movie about a rat that knows how to cook. Isn't that a crazy idea? Well, turns out it became a very notorious movie. And in today's video, I'll be reviewing this movie, like Anton is reviewing Remy's Ratatouille. In this 8th episode of this series of videos where I rank every Pixar movie ever made. If you are new to this channel, hi, welcome. And if you want to support this small channel of mine, don't forget to subscribe to it. Now, enough yapping said, let's go over the movie Ratatouille. And don't forget that this entire video is subjective and that you have the right to have your own opinion. So, the movie starts with this television presenting us a background story about a fancy French chef named Gusto, who always say that anyone can cook. And after that, we get introduced to this scary food critic named Anton Ego. Wait, did I just say that his last name is Ego? Anyways, we then meet Remy, the main character of the movie, who's a rat that is passionate about cooking, despite being taught to just shut up and eat your garbage. After trying to cook a meal with his brother Emile on top of a granny's house, they get struck by lightning and fall to the ground. Remy then gets an idea on how to make his mushroom delicious, and goes inside the granny's house to get some saffron, which Emile is not comfortable doing. But hey, what can happen anyway? It's not as if that sleeping granny is dangerous or anything. Oh, never mind, she pulls out a shotgun. America, am I right? Turns out the movie doesn't take place in America. It takes place in France, LMAO. And so, after shooting many bullets indoors, the granny destroys her ceiling. And that reveals where the rat colony was hiding all along. She then puts on her Chernobyl outfit and uses poison gas against the rats. But they all leave the house in a hurry, and Remy loses sight of his colony and chooses the wrong path. He then gets lost in the sewers and starts seeing things. Yeah, he's really gone mad.
You are an illustration. Why am I talking to you?
He then moves out of the sewers in search of food and finds some bread, which he decides to take a bite out of, and oh boy, he's now seeing ghosts. He's really gone mad this time. Remy then makes his way out of the building and oh, not again? What is it with guns in this movie made for children? Anyways, he discovers that he was in Paris all along, the city of his dreams, where Chef Gusto had his own restaurant and oh, not again? Alright, I guess we'll just have to accept the fact that Gusto will be speaking to Remy through his imagination throughout the entire runtime of the movie, and that he'll be appearing most of the time as if he is some kind of FNAF jump scare. Remy then sees the garbage guy of the restaurant named Linguini fuck up a soup and couldn't let that slide. So he goes out to save the day, and you know what? The customer loves it. But Remy gets captured by Linguini and he is ordered to kill it. For some reason, Linguini goes to the river scene to kill Remy, but he isn't able to do it because Remy pulls out a Puss in Boots type of look. He then finds out that the rat understands him and starts going crazy. He talks to him for a couple of seconds and accidentally kills him. Just kidding. He frees Remy and Remy flees away. Just kidding again. Linguini takes him to his apartment and the next morning they go to the restaurant together. But how will Remy be able to walk in without getting seen by anyone? Oh hell no, what the hell? Inside the restaurant, Linguini walks in not very subtly, recreating some kind of average New York street experience. He and the rat then find a new spot to hide him, thank God, and Remy teaches him how to cook. Well, technically he doesn't teach him how to cook, he just controls him through his hair. How is that possible though? Well, honestly, I stopped asking questions surrounding this movie when I saw talking rats, you know? It's a fucking kids movie like some people online would tell me. Anyways, after failing multiple times to get the hang of it, Remy finally ends up succeeding in controlling Linguini through his hair. And the next day, back at the restaurant, Colette gets assigned to teach Linguini how they work there. And what a better way to do that than giving him a feminist speech about how hard it was for her to get where she is now. After looking at some Gusto life-sized signs where he does, as we call it nowadays, cultural appropriation, Skinner learns that Linguini might be Gusto's son, but nothing's sure yet until they get a positive DNA DNA match. Linguini then decides to do a silly prank on Skinner.
The rat! But he...
I
he
just
is
dropped
not-
my keys.
And later, Colette tries to follow a Gusto recipe, but Remy misplays her and makes up his own recipe instead, which creates some awkward situations. And you know what? The customers loved it. Skinner then becomes paranoid about the rat and tries to catch it, but instead just looks crazy in front of everyone to get Linguini to confess about the rat. He tries to make him drunk, which doesn't work because Linguini is a professional rage baiter.
Have you ever had a pet rat? No. Did you work in a lab with rats? No. Perhaps you lived in squalor at some point? Nobody.
In the meantime, Remy crosses paths with his brother and decides to have a chat with his father, who then tells him that humans are evil and shows him why, which makes Remy doubt if he can really achieve his dream goal. The next day, as Linguini is about to reveal his secret to Colette, Remy forces him to kiss her so he will shut up. And you know what? It fucking worked. But don't do that in real life, please, because that's called assault. Later, Skinner acts crazy around his lawyer, and he learns that maybe he wasn't that paranoid after all, because Linguini's first DNA sample turned out to be identified as rodent hair, and the second one was a positive match with Gusto, which officially makes him Gusto's son. When learning about this, Linguini takes over Skinner's job and suddenly inherits everything Gusto had, which abruptly changes his entire lifestyle. He gets a great apartment, becomes famous, and becomes powerful. But what about Skinner? Well, his jealous ass always spies on the restaurant, and whenever he gets caught, he gets the thumb treatment. During an interview with Linguini, Anton walks in and everybody suddenly looks at him because he has that kind of aura. He tells Linguini that he is going to eat at his restaurant the next day, so he better prepare himself to serve something mind-blowing. But the next day, nothing goes as planned. He and Remy start a beef with each other, and Remy gets captured by Skinner so he can use him as a cooking slave. But Remy's family saves him, and they take over the restaurant right after everyone quit, because when Linguini told his employees the truth, they thought that he was going crazy and quit their job, even Colette. But she ends up regretting her choice and comes back to the restaurant that is now full of rats. They then cook a ratatouille and give a portion to Anton, which brings him back PTSDs from his childhood. He then meets the real chef, Remy, and writes a positive review about the restaurant. But sadly, the restaurant shuts down the next day because of a rat infestation. Who would have thought? But the movie ends up on a positive note because Remy opens up his own restaurant in Paris called La Ratatouille, and everyone lives happily ever after, even the rats. And so, with all that said, that was a summary of the movie. Now, what did I think of it? Well, I find the concept of the movie so weird on paper, but you know what? I enjoyed this movie. I think it's a really entertaining journey with a powerful message. It's not just a movie about how anyone can cook, it's also about how talent can come from anywhere, and it explores themes like art and criticism, which are themes that resonate with me, as you probably guessed, seeing that I'm currently criticizing this movie. And I think the idea of a rat using the body of a human to cook is really unique and make this movie so memorable. I also really like the emotions that this movie shares, especially through Remy's journey and how he wants to follow his dreams even though his father tells him that he can't, because rats will always be rats. This clash between him and his father is also interesting, giving two perspectives on the situation. I think this movie tells a powerful and hopeful message to those who believe that they can't beat stereotypes and can't reach their dreams because of that. The story itself is also pretty good. I think the events of the story were enjoyable and entertaining enough. It made me attached to a rat, which I never expected to say once in my life. Now, talking about rats, let's explore a bit the characters of the movie and what they brought on screen. Remy is honestly a great protagonist. It's fun to follow his journey, starting off as a disgusting rat in the eyes of humans into becoming a great chef. His evolution in this movie was strong and hopeful, and even though I sometimes have some trouble with his personality, I think his development makes the story more interesting. Linguini, on the other hand, is honestly such a waste in my opinion. He's like the second protagonist of the movie and doesn't really get any better throughout the events of the movie. He was pretty much only a joke throughout the entire runtime of the movie and didn't end up having some sort of interesting evolution. He was mostly a bridge in Remy's journey, and I believe that it would have been interesting to give more importance on screen to his evolution, because I feel like the spotlight was only given to the talented Remy and not to the talentless Linguini, who ended up finding himself useful not as a chef but as a waiter. I think he wasn't put on the spotlight enough, but whatever. Also, chat, am I the only one who found his clumsiness so annoying at times? Anyways, let's move on to the side characters. I think they all served their purpose well enough, with most of them being comedic reliefs. But what about the love interest though? What about Colette? Well, as a character, I really like her personality, but as a love interest, I think her relationship with Linguini doesn't work really well. I mean, I don't see how her strong personality connects with the clumsy Linguini, and their evolution together did not feel romantic, but just professional. I guess it was all caused by this one accidental kiss, which doesn't work like that in real life. Sorry to tell you, kids. Anyways, to me, it felt more like a relationship forced to serve the plot in some way. What about the antagonists? Well, Skinner was annoying as fuck, and honestly wasn't that much of a menacing obstacle to Remy's journey until the very end. I think Anton though was a great antagonist. His aura was just so impactful and stressful at times. We know that he is powerful enough to ruin reputations, and his confidence just makes him even more menacing, which made the climax of the movie more intense. And giving him a quick background story at the end plus a redemption was really great, demonstrating how powerful food is. Now, visually, the movie looks good, and what I like the most about it is its usage of lightning. I think the visual aspect of the movie that impressed me the most is the lightning. Many shots are beautiful because of how it plays with lightning mixed with the colors on screen that sometimes creates a great clash. The CGI is also great, and for the first time during this entire ranking, I will compliment the environments. Paris looks beautiful, and I think it's a step up from their previous movies when it comes to texturizing the environments. So shout out to Pixar on this one. During previous reviews, I mentioned how I don't like movies featuring small species of animals in bigger environments, but in Ratatouille, I think it works. The world is too big for their size, yes, but it's filled with elements, which doesn't make the environment empty at all compared to like A Bug's Life. And also, I don't know why, but the music of this movie gives me goosebumps and is really impactful for me. That French touch in the soundtrack makes the ambience of the movie more unique and memorable, and it really hits me emotionally, but I don't know how to describe it. I guess that's the power of music for y'all. Now, let's finish this review by mentioning a couple of things that I didn't quite like in this movie. Starting off with the guns. I don't know what this movie has with guns, but I feel like it's so over the top and just doesn't work with the overall ambience of the movie, you know? It's a bit too violent for this type of story, in my opinion. Now, this movie also likes to jump scare us. I don't know why, especially with Gusto. Ratatouille is not a horror movie, but I'm pretty sure some old folks would die of a heart attack after watching this movie. Also, that fake French accent is annoying to me, and I say that as a French Canadian myself. It's like if they wanted to mix French culture with the English language, but it ended up not working for me.
Hey boss, look who is here. Alfredo Linguini. Renata's little boy.
And so, with all that said, I will put Ratatouille in A tier, right behind The Incredibles. I think I like The Incredibles more because I find it more entertaining overall, even if the overall message of Ratatouille resonates more with me. And with all that said, that concludes this 8th episode of ranking every Pixar movie. Next time, we'll go over WALL-E, a movie that I don't remember at all. So I'm pretty excited to rediscover it without having any memory of it. If you don't want to miss out on this next episode, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button to get notifications whenever I upload. If you enjoyed or hated this video, make sure to leave a like or a dislike. I send you guys all my love and hope to see you in the next one. See y'all!